This week we're gonna talk about base jumping. Hello Internet! Today's episode is about base jumping and especially how I photograph base jumping, because last year I got the opportunity to go to Ekstremsportveko, which is one of the world's biggest extreme sport festivals, and I got the chance to photograph some of the coolest base jumpers in the world from the edge of where they were jumping from. The cool thing is that I had never photographed base jumping before. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I've been photographing kayaking and skydiving and stuff like that, but never base jumping. So I was really excited and scared at the same time, because not only do you have to stand on the edge of where the jumpers actually jump from, but you also have to make sure that you don't fuck up the images, because you only get one chance, and if they jump and you got no photos, well, you blew it. So I was really nervous about how I was gonna do it, and you get no second chances, so I just did my best, and I'll try to walk you through 3 of my favorite images from this day. Alright, so this one is the first image I would like to talk about, because when I went to Extreme Sport Week and I thought about, okay, I'm gonna photograph base jumping, but how should I photograph it? Because it's not just clicking the button. I wanted to tell a story. I wanted to get the audience to feel what the base jumpers was feeling, and so I thought, what better way to get people to get a feeling than to focus on details and try to take one piece out of the jump that is most significant and most important to the jumpers and also the audience. And I think that's the biggest difference between people who base jump and people who don't base jump, is that they actually step over the edge. So that day, the thing I wanted to capture was that moment, the decisive moment when you decide to actually jump over the edge. So the first photo is exactly that. When I first got on the edge, the first jumper was a girl, and I've never seen base jumping in real. I've seen it in real life, but only from the ground. But I've never seen it actually from the edge, and she was just standing like 2 meters away from me. And we all seen base jumping on YouTube, where they just pack their chutes, get in a helicopter, get onto the edge, and then they jump. And right before, and you got this crazy music like dubstep thing, which starts really slow with slow motion video and everything when you go up to the hill, and once you jump you get and you just like fly soaring through the mountains down. But that's not how at all it actually was, because when I got on the edge and this girl was standing there, she had her back facing the edge, and the world just froze. I stood looking at her. I couldn't take a single image. I just looked at her. She looked at me, and then she just let go. She just fell back, and there was no dubstep music or anything. There was just complete silence. Not even wind. You couldn't hear anything, and I was shocked. My belly was tickling, full of butterflies, and I was like, whoa, leaning over the edge to see if she was okay. And a couple of seconds later, I saw her parachute open, and I got chills all over my body. So she came up again, and this time I tried to actually take a photo. So this photo is maybe my favorite photo from this day, and it's actually an accident, because I was shooting with another camera and another lens, and I just had my 5D Mark III with 85mm 1.2. and I just had it in my hand and just placed it on a mountain shelf. And as I was actually taking photos with my one arm, I was just clicking with the other, and then I got this image. And I think this exact image is maybe one of the photos that actually describe base jumping the most, because it actually shows that decisive moment when you actually decide to step over the edge. And you can see the water splashing, and you can see that she's actually jumping off a mountain. So it's pretty crazy. It's actually one of my favorite photos that I've ever shot. And I think you don't need to see the whole thing, just have to see something. And I think this detail made this image. So the next image, on first eyesight, it looks like just a normal landscape photo. This was taken actually from the ground with a long lens. It's about 400 millimeters, and I tried to capture the contrast between the majestic nature and the flyers. And so they were going through a waterfall, and I tried to capture them right in the middle of the waterfall. So if we zoom into the photo, you can actually see the wingsuit pilot in the waterfall, and you can see how small he is compared to the nature. And I think it's really a really cool example, and gives sort of like a depth on how big nature is compared to these human beings that are actually flying, and how vulnerable we actually are when we're flying in nature. It's one mistake, 1 second, and you're gone. So it's crazy. It's also one of my favorite photos. The last image I want to show you guys is this one, which also is a very fun photo. It's also kind of like the first one, because you don't actually see them in mid-air, but you get to see them going past the point of no return. And I think that's the key moment in base jumping, because once you step over the edge, you've stepped over and there's no way back. In this image you can see more nature. You can see the environment that they're actually jumping in. This place is called Gudvangen, which is the Valley of the Gods. It's just about 1 hour outside Voss, and it's a great place to base jump in Norway. That was my 3 favorite images from that base jumping shoot. Before I go, I want to give you a little slideshow of the favorite photos from that day. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in a couple of days. Peace.
It's a shit-some world, 'cause I don't really want you, girl. But you can't be free, 'cause I'm selfish, I'm obscene. I get a little bit Genghis Khan. I don't want you to get it on with nobody else but me. With nobody else but me. I get a little bit Genghis Khan. I don't want you to get it on with nobody else but me. With nobody else but me. Myself.